At this point, you know that one of my biggest mantras in Airsoft is to change the way you play. And in the sea of M4 this, M4 build that, or even sometimes AK build this, AK build that, and it eventually all becomes the same. So today, at Airsoft GI, we're gonna be talking about going long range. What is going on, Mail Gang? It's Boaz here, and like I said earlier, we're gonna be talking about going long range. And we're not specifically talking about snipers as of yet, but we want to fill in the gap between your not-rich, very European, $3,000 sniper, and your regular M4 or assault rifle class in Airsoft. You want to fill the gap a little bit, and that's where something like what we call a DMR would come in. And just to give you a quick rundown, if you don't know what that is, DMR stands for Designated Marksman Rifle. So again, it's supposed to fill in the gap between your traditional rifleman and your sniper. So you're gonna be able to reach out and touch targets farther out than what a normal rifle can handle. A couple caveats. A lot of the guns we're gonna show today are not specifically what I would consider a DMR, but sometimes I would even dare I say a battle rifle role.
Did someone say battle rifle?
Over the course of history, I think the role of having a battle rifle has kind of gone the way of the dodo, but I think in Airsoft we still have the battle rifle role live and well, and that gets lumped into the DMR category. So just a heads up when I talk about today's video, when I talk about things filling a more of a battle rifle role rather than a DMR mode, I would kind of say that with the battle rifle, you're gonna have a higher rate of fire, you want better trigger response, like you're gonna still be outranging a lot of ARs, but you don't want to have as much built precision as, let's say, a specific DMR. So in this video, I'm going to be going over different DMR or battle rifle platforms that are not only widely used in the Airsoft space, but also very accessible to you as a player, so that way you can put in the upgrades that you need and achieve those longer range engagement distances. And now, just another caveat, very, very few Airsoft guns exist on the market today that are ready to go like that out of the box. You will need to do some aftermarket tuning and upgrading to get your Airsoft gun to that level. And no, the VFC SCAR SSR is not one of those platforms. I just put it in here to tease you, okay? I don't want to crush your hopes, but here I am crushing your hopes. It's not a good platform, okay? Fight me on it. It's not a good platform. I've tried, and no, it's not a good platform. Fight me. The first gun on the list for best DMR platforms is going to have to be the Double Bell Mark 12 Mod 0 SPR. Now hold the phone. I know this is not strictly a DMR, because you guys are going to be saying, oh, boys, it's not a DMR. Yeah, I know. It's not a DMR. It's an SPR, Special Purpose Rifle. Huh? That's right. So the way I see the Mark 12 SPR is that you could go either way when it comes to building this out for a long range build. You can either take it for a more traditional DMR, upgrade the snot out of this thing, or you can take this rifle, do a moderate amount of upgrades with it, make it more longer range focused, and you can run around with your boys out in the field who are rocking regular Airsoft rifles, and you'll be able to land longer range hits with this thing, which is something that I personally would recommend, or even Cisco would with his own Mark 12 build. The Double Bell Mark 12 SPR honestly comes pretty loaded out of the box, especially when it comes to its external quality. It already comes out of the box with a full metal receiver set, the very unique Mark 12 specific handguard, and the integrated top rail that sits on top of the upper receiver. I really love this thing because it already brings your optics to a better height, so that way you don't have to crane your neck forward when you're looking down your sights, which is pretty sick. It also comes with a set of integrated flip-up iron sights, and one detail that I really love is going to be that thicker profile barrel along with the specific Mark 12 style flash hider. Other great features are going to be your very nice full-length polymer M16 style stock. It has an absolute ton of battery space, so if you wanted to upgrade this gun and throw in a brick like the Speedy Boys do, you definitely have that option available to you. You also have a nice sling plate at the rear of the stock, so that way you can throw on a sling if you wanted to. And on the front of the gun, you do have your nice little proto, before the era of M-Lock and Keymod, your modular rail system where you can unscrew and screw in different Picatinny rail segments for your accessories. Externally, you don't really need to do much of this SPR because it's mostly already pretty much built for you. You have a very nice purpose-built SPR gun. It looks like the SPR, and I love that it comes with this whole accessories kit out of the box. So all you really need to do is just throw on an optic of your choice, maybe a bipod if you really want to, or a foregrip. Honestly, I don't really care about bipods, so just maybe run a foregrip. And if you're really spicy, throw on a pec box for that milsim aesthetic. That's pretty much all you need to do externally, because again, you get the whole SPR look out of the box. Internally is where this Mark 12 SPR really shines, because internally it's just using a standard version 2 M4 style gearbox. There's nothing proprietary about it. It's as run-of-the-mill it gets, and that's a really good thing because there are tons, and I mean tons of upgrade parts out there available for this thing. We're talking your standard 18-to-1 gear set, standard compression system. We're talking standard loading nozzle, standard hop-up unit. We're talking standard motor. Okay, everything about this gun is standard, which means it's a blank canvas and you can build it however you want to build it. And the best part is, are also the mags. Mags are also a consideration, especially with a lot of these specialized builds. It's hard to find mags that are readily available, okay? And so out of the box, it does come with this nice little windy shorty style VN style mag, but there are tons of sweet other shorty mag options out there, like PTS with the little shorty mags, even Lancer Tactical with their polymer style shorty mags, I think are an absolute vibe. And if you are out of luck and if you already have an M4, honestly, you can just run your regular M4 mag and you're fine. So here's my personal recommendation when it comes to building this platform out. Because it's an M4, again, the world is your oyster, but personally, I would recommend or advise you to run this more like a battle rifle.
Battle rifle?
Still gonna run around with this thing again with your boys with regular M4s, regular assault rifles, and you'll be able to land longer range hits. So I recommend swapping out the motor for like a 25K motor, maybe throwing out the gear set, getting a higher strength like steel gear set, getting the Nebula MOSFET, the Nebula ETU in here because it'll fit perfectly good in this thing. And the Nebula MOSFET honestly is a really good bang for your buck. Okay, and it's just, you're gonna be able to rewire this thing, throw a brick 11-1 LiPo in there without any problems. Okay, maybe upgrade the hop-up unit to like a rotary style hop-up unit, and of course, the Unicorn inner barrel and bucking combo. You might want to switch out the bucking to a harder bucking. I would say like a Unicorn 70 degree or so. Again, extreme value for what you're getting. You're gonna get a really nice quality barrel and bucking setup in here for pretty much a very affordable cost, and you're going to be able to really outrange these people out on the field. And finally, I would probably say for longevity, I would change out the piston and piston head and also throw in a stronger spring, maybe like an M120, M125 equivalent into this gun, and you're pretty much good to go. The best thing about the Double Bell Mark 12 SPR Mod 0 is the price. It is comfortably sitting well underneath the $200 price point at $174 at airsoftgi.com, which is pretty nutty, especially for you getting a full metal external build quality and the Mark 12 SPR like setup right here. Like, just to get this aftermarket setup alone usually costs a lot of money, like a lot of money. So you getting this out of the box is a tremendous value. And again, because of how upgradable the gearbox is, it's probably the easiest, the best way to get into your long range build. The next gun on this DMR list is gonna be the Golden Eagle SR25K. The Golden Eagle SR25K is a newer addition to the DMR / battle rifle nebula in the airsoft space.
Who keeps saying battle rifle?
When this first hit the US and I saw this thing for the first time, I instantly fell in love. I mean, look at this thing. Now they offer it in black and peanut butter. Listen, there's only one right color when you get this, all right? If a company offers a gun in peanut butter, you take the peanut butter. Externally, this gun is just absolutely gorgeous to look at, and we're talking a full metal build, which means you get full metal receiver set, you get that nice full metal updated M-LOK URX style handguard, oh, my favorite. And of course, you're gonna get, your full metal outer barrel and buffer tube and things like that. But it also comes with some really nice accessories, or it's furnished well out of the box, such as this nice polymer ergonomic pistol grip, the nice SOP mod style stock, which gives you plenty of battery space. And you even get these nice CAC style low profile flip up sights, which are also metal. Very nice touch. The internals of the Golden Eagle SR25K are the reason why I put this gun second on my list, is because this gun is actually surprisingly very easy to source upgrade parts for you to build it out for that long range loadout or that long range setup. And surprisingly, with the SR25K, it's using mostly a standard version 2 gearbox. Now, this is not like your standard SR25 gearbox. For those of you who know, it's not identical to that. It's using, again, mostly version 2 parts, with the exception being the cylinder head. The cylinder head on this gun is the only thing that is not standard version 2, which is good news. What this means, you can change out the gear set for a stronger gear set. You could change out most of the compression parts like the piston and the spring guide, and you throw in a stronger spring in there, right? And you can use a standard motor or version 2 long type motors. I would give you the same kind of recommendation as I would with the Mark 12 SPR. We're talking, you might want to have a slightly stronger gear set, maybe get a nice affordable set of steer wire cut gears, as well as throwing in that Zion Nebula MOSFET in there, which will give you that really nice snappy trigger response paired with a 25K motor. Maybe change out the air nozzle for something a little bit better compression with the hop-up unit, right? Maybe throw in an M120 spring, M125 spring in there, run some 0.0 gram BBs, and you'll be good to go on the airsoft field making those long range shots. And how could I forget one of the most important upgrades of all for a DMR or battle rifle build? We're talking the unicorn barrel. It's a no-brainer. At this point, I don't even know why I'm repeating myself. I'm gonna repeat myself like a broken record. Unicorn barrel, it goes without saying, you have to have it to get this thing shooting accurately at distance. The Golden Eagle SR25K is priced very competitively, and as of right now at airsoftgi.com, it is retailing for $261. It is still well underneath the $300 price point. It bleeds a little bit past, the $250 mark, because it's offered at $261, but you're getting a lot of value for it. Like I said, you're getting a full metal high quality build with this updated CAC rail. Oh, so good. And this gorgeous peanut butter color. It's hard to go wrong, and especially because of how readily available this gun is to upgrade with those standard M4 parts, you can't really go wrong. Naturally, the next gun on this list is gonna have to be the Classic Army ECS M110 CA25. Do you know how many takes I had to do to get that name right? Classic Army, please, for the love of God, streamline your naming system. Thank you. But to answer the question, why is this Classic Army SR25 next on the list? Well, it's because this is a more traditional SR25 platform, which we'll get more into detail in a bit, but this is Classic Army, baby. It has some of the best build qualities out there on the market. We're talking the full metal construction with the receiver set. You get this nice classic style quad rail, which I still have a heart for. But we're also talking about this interesting railed gas block, which is interesting. And it even comes out of the box included with your traditional classic correct SR25 style mock suppressor. You're also getting the nice full length M16 style full stock, as well as your standard A2 pistol grip. But one thing I think that's interesting about the external build quality of the SR25 is that it does have a fully ambidextrous control set when it comes to your fire controls. So what do I mean when I say that this is a more traditional SR25 setup? Well, it has to do with the internals, and this is using what we will call a version 2.5 gearbox, which is a term that's loosely thrown around in the airsoft industry, but basically what it means is that this is a modified version 2 gearbox, which means that, as in the case of this SR25, that the gearbox is actually a bit longer because the receiver is longer. And Classic Army, they've gone and modified the SR25 gearbox with the compression set and the gear set to basically give you more air volume, which is perfect, which is really good, especially if you want to take this SR25 and use it for more of, like I said, an electric sniper, a true DMR build. So internally, the M110 CA25 will come out of the box with a longer cylinder, a longer piston, and the gear set will have more teeth compared to a traditional version 2 gear set. And again, that all goes to giving the gearbox more air volume to push more air out of the gearbox to give you that long range capability. Now, it does come with a pretty standard motor, and it also has, I think the crowning jewel of this gearbox is that it comes with the Classic Army ECS MOSFET system, which is the same enhanced trigger unit that you see in things like their Nemesis series and even their Skirmish series, which means the gearbox is programmable. So you can program this thing to semi-lock it. That is the only correct way to do it. You need to semi-lock this thing, especially if you're gonna do a high power build like this. You do not want to take this into full auto. You will get banned, so you can program this thing to go semi-auto only. Going along with that traditional SR25 setup, okay, we're gonna get this gun to be shooting like a traditional DMR. We're talking an electric sniper rifle, semi-auto sniper style setup. Okay, so you're not going to be running with the boys. You're going to be in the back supporting your boys. So how do we get there? Well, the first thing that I would recommend is throwing on a really high torque motor, because you don't need the rate of fire because you're semi-locking this gun with the ECS. The gear set honestly is very solid out of the box. I wouldn't recommend changing that out. I would say with the compression set, I would say it's pretty decent out of the box. I would recommend maybe like Teflon wrapping some of the compression parts to give you an even better seal on this bad boy. Throwing on an M135 spring, you are gonna put in an M135 spring. You have to, okay? Put that strong spring in there. And I will probably recommend changing out the nozzle and maybe even the hop-up unit. So you might want to go with a better sealing nozzle, like an O-ring nozzle, maybe even a double O-ring nozzle. You might have to play around with that, take some fine-tuning to do, to make sure that no air is escaping out of this gearbox. It is all shooting straight down the barrel of the gun. And of course, the barrel setup. Do I need to say it again? You need to do the unicorn barrel with the 80-degree hop-up bucking. And to top it all off, you are going to use 0.40 gram BBs. There is no ifs, ands, and buts. You will use 0.40 gram BBs with that upgrade setup. When it's all said and done, the Classic Army M110 CA25 is retailing for $400 at Airsoft GI, but as of right now, as of the filming and editing of this video, it is currently on sale for $360 at airsoftgi.com. I don't know how long that sale is going to last, so I recommend getting it while the getting is good. But at the end of the day, at a $400 full price tag, you are getting what you pay for, right? You're getting a top tier build quality from Classic Army, and you're getting some really good internals out of the box, and which means you don't need to upgrade or change as much internally as you would with a lower cost build. So that's part of the trade-off. But if you want to get into the true DMR, the true electric sniping experience, I honestly think that the CA25 M110 is the way to go. Probably the gun that's almost as controversial as the Mark 12 SPR is going to be the G&G TR16 SPR 308 Mark 1. Holy moly, G&G, you're just as bad as the rest of them. Please clean up your naming system. Let's talk about the TR16 SPR. This does not look like a DMR. In fact, the only reason why this gun is on the list is because of the magazine. Look, it's a 308 magazine. Oh, bigger bullets in pretend land. So technically you should be shooting longer range. So this, of course, is going to be your battle rifle build.
Who keeps saying battle rifle? I'm not crazy. Someone keeps saying battle rifle.
With G&G, you're getting pretty damn good build quality, especially since this is full metal. So if G&G makes a full metal gun, you know it's pretty damn good because they charge a premium for it, okay? But we're talking the nice billet style, aggressively styled receiver set that is full metal. You're getting that full metal shorty M-lock rail of their own original design, and it looks absolutely sick. And you're getting some of their own in-house pretty well-designed furniture, such as their ergonomic pistol grip, which I really like, and their really cool snazzy stock. Oh shoot, hold on, I forgot to take out the barrel plug. So, haha, silly me. There you go, okay, barrel plug's off. So, nice little muzzle brake over here too. I kind of like it. It's very tastefully done. I like how they just painted on a little bit of that orange to make it legal in the US. So yeah, take it for what you will. The TR16 SPR is also loaded with a lot of cool little features out of the box as well, such as the nice low profile CAC style iron sights, fully ambidextrous fire controls on the receivers. You're getting a nice aggressive flat trigger. You have an ambidextrous sling plate on the rear for however you want to mount your slings. You get this nice aggressive styled ambidextrous charging handle with my favorite detail, the functional bolt catch. Internally is where the TR16 SPR gets a little interesting. I wouldn't say that it's blessed. I wouldn't say that it's cursed. I'd say it's blessed with a curse. And what do you mean by that? Well, if you take a look at the magazine here, it's a proprietary magazine, so it's not taking any standard magazines. The magazines do look really sick, not gonna lie, but you'll see here on the feed lips, it is not located at the edge of the magazine like you would expect from a traditional AEG magazine. In fact, it's backed off more towards the center of the magazine, and that is because the gun is rocking a G2 gearbox, which is one of G&G's top shelf gearbox offerings out of the box. Okay, it has all the bells and whistles. We're talking about their G2 MOSFET, which is programmable, and also even has a speaker to let you know if you have a malfunction or if you have a low power on your battery. It even includes the electronic cutoff, which means once you're out of ammo on this magazine, the gun will stop firing. You will need to load in a new magazine to make sure the gun will continue firing, which is super sick, okay? But it's an extremely well optimized and well put together gearbox. I will not recommend, in good conscience, I cannot recommend changing anything out about this gearbox. In fact, the only thing that I would probably recommend that you do if you want to get that specific long range build is to put in maybe like an M125 spring in there, and of course the unicorn barrel and bucking. With that being said, you're going to be leaving this gun mostly alone, and with a slightly stronger spring and of course the unicorn inner barrel and bucking, you are really getting that true battle rifle experience. The gun is extremely lightweight for what it is, and you'll be running with the boys, landing those long range shots while you're running around on the field, having a blast with your friends, okay? But let's talk about the biggest barrier to entry with this gun, and it's gonna be the price, right? As soon as you hear full metal on G&G, you can expect to pay a hefty premium on their guns. So the G&G TR16 SBR 308 Mark 1 is gonna retail for $495 at Airsoft GI. $495 is a lot to ask for, especially when purchasing an airsoft gun, and I totally understand why most people will not really give this a second thought when looking for their long-range setup. However, I will say this, because G&G included the G2 gearbox into this thing, you're not going to be touching the internals at all. Again, the only thing that you really need to do is a slightly stronger spring, if you even wanted to do that, and the unicorn barrel, which goes without say. But other than that, you're not going to be really breaking apart the gearbox on this gun. So whereas a lot of the more affordable builds are going to be a lot more labor intensive, because you're going to be practically gutting the gun and replacing the internals completely, this you just buy once, cry once, and you're done. Now getting into the more uncommon territory, the next gun on this list is going to be the Echo1 M14 Socom version 3. The Shorty M14 is such a vibe. There is a lot of room in my heart to have love for the Shorty M14 platform. I think it just looks so sick. With the Echo1 M14 version 3, you are getting, again, that stubbier barrel with a pretty cool looking integrated flash hider, which I think, again, looks absolutely sick. You're getting a nice sturdy polymer receiver set along with a nice little Picatinny top rail, and you're getting metal where the metal needs to be, such as the bolt assembly group and the trigger. A couple interesting things about the Echo1 Socom M14 version 3 is that you do not get the rear optics mount. So I guess Echo1 wants you just to like run like a red dot or something up here, which is not okay. Get like a cool looking sniper scope, and you should be able to easily find the little optics mount Picatinny section here for the rear. It does have the screw, so you can install it easily. And it does come included with a battery, a charger, and 2 high cap magazines for the M14, which is pretty interesting to see. I do not recommend using that out of the box battery. It's not that great. And the best thing, my favorite thing about M14 platforms as a whole is the sound when you rack the mock bolt. Just listen. Oh, that sounds so good. I'm gonna do it one more time. Oh, that sounds so good. Oh, there's nothing quite like it. Internally is where things get, I guess, a little bit on the tougher side. So because this is an M14, thank God it's a standard M14 internal setup. It's rocking the version 7 gearbox, which is purpose built for the M14 platform. It is a platform. It is a supported platform. There are aftermarket parts and upgrades available for the version 7 gearbox, but it's gonna be a bit tougher to find as compared to an SR25 gearbox or an AK gearbox or an M4 gearbox. It's not gonna be as much upgrade parts out there, but they exist. Because the version 7 gearbox is not as well supported as the other gearboxes out there in this video, I, in good conscience, can only really truly recommend that you keep within the lane of this Shorty M14 style, which is gonna be a battle rifle build. We're gonna do a battle rifle build.
It's battle rifle time.
Oh God, he's off his meds.
With that being said, I will probably recommend maybe throwing in like an M120 spring, opening up the compression set if you really want to, and just kind of messing with it, like kind of Teflon coating or making sure that you get the best seal possible with playing around with O-rings and Teflon tape, maybe throwing in a balance motor and an entry-level inline MOSFET, because you're not going to be able to throw in really any kind of advanced ETU unit into the trigger board. It's probably not out there. So having a wired inline MOSFET will get this gun 11.1 volt LiPo ready, so that way it can boost up your trigger response, but not too crazy. And again, for like the 20th time in a row, unicorn barrel and bucking. Cutting to the brass tacks of the Echo1 M14 Socom version 3, it is priced fairly reasonably. It is retailing at $236 at airsoftgi.com, and as of right now, it is on sale for $215 at Airsoft GI. So again, get it while the getting is good. You're playing with the M14 like this more so as a vibe, right? Like if in the sea of M4s and sea of standardized builds, it's always cool and a breath of fresh air to run around with a gun that is not what we call standard on the airsoft field. The final DMR on this DMR list is going to be the most esoteric, the hardest one to build, and that's going to be the Echo1 Red Star CSR Sniper AEG. If you're a diehard AK fanboy, if you really love that Eastern Bloc Russian mayo, the next evolution for your AK obsession is naturally either going to be that you drop over $1,000 into getting a PKM light machine gun, or you get into the long range game with something like this SVD. And I think this Echo1 SVD looks pretty dang sick out of the box. I mean, it's just an AK, but just really stretched out, just really long, okay? So we're talking with this Echo1 CSR SVD, a full metal construction with the receiver set and the barrel setup, but you're getting some pretty interesting things out of the box, such as this like kind of like almost like a rubberized polymer pistol grip / stock assembly, the classic iconic looking SVD handguard, and you're getting a really nice rubberized cheek riser here on the rear. Couple interesting notes about the SVD is that it comes with iron sights out of the box. Like, are you kidding me, dude? Like, are you actually going to use iron sights on your SVD? Come on now, let's be real. You're not, okay? But on the left-hand side of the receiver, just like most traditional AKs, you're going to have that side-mounted optics mount for it. Now, keep in mind, this is not your traditional AK style optics mount. This is specific to the SVD. So if you want to get that optics mount, you have to make sure that you look for an SVD specific optics mount. This gun is also front wired, which is kind of interesting, cool, I guess. But it also comes included with 2 magazines out of the box, and you get the battery and charger. Do not use the battery and charger. Internally is where the gun, well, let me put it this way. Why do you think this is the last gun on the list? Okay, it's using like its own thing. It's doing its own thing. It has a proprietary gearbox. I mean, just look at this receiver. It is so skinny and long. There's no real standard gearbox for this, and it sure as hell is not using a version 3 gearbox. The only thing that I could probably really recommend for the SVD platform is probably getting a stronger spring, like an M130, M135, getting you closer to that 500 FPS mark. You're gonna want to get a reinforced piston specifically made for an SVD, so an SVD spec reinforced piston to help you withstand all that greater pressure you're throwing to the gearbox with that stronger spring. A higher torque motor to, again, help the gearbox move that spring back and forth. You're gonna want to also maybe get a front wired inline MOSFET. Nothing fancy, nothing crazy, just something that can maybe handle an 11.1 LiPo battery. And you're gonna want that unicorn inner barrel and bucking, of course, without saying. But one caveat, do not get a super long inner barrel. I will probably recommend at most anywhere between like the high 300 millimeter mark to maybe the low 400 millimeter mark. And the reason why I'm saying this is because if you run a super long inner barrel, you're gonna lose energy. The most important thing is how you run the gun. Make sure, for the love of God, do not spam the trigger on this thing. Take it easy on the trigger. Pretend that it's almost like a bolt action sniper. So take it nice and slow on the trigger. You're gonna be taking nice and precise shots at range to make sure that the gearbox doesn't blow out on you when you try to spam this thing. Thank you guys for sticking around and checking out our top recommendations for the best DMR / battle rifle platforms out there. And if you feel like this video was a bit lacking in your opinion, don't worry, there actually is a part 2 that will be coming eventually. But that is because here at Airsoft GI, we have thousands of airsoft guns that are more than capable of doing the long range job for you, especially if you're looking into the long range game in airsoft. All right, but if I were to give my personal pick, my personal favorite on this list is gonna have to be the Echo1 M14 shorty little Socom guy, because it's just such a vibe rocking this on the airsoft field. I love the way it feels in the hands, and honestly, I think one of the things that often gets overlooked when you play airsoft as a hobby is feeling cool. You know, running a really unique or less common gun on the airsoft field is so much fun that I'm personally, for me, I'm willing to sacrifice the performance that you get out of more common builds out there. And if you guys like what you're seeing, if you would like to see more of our videos, please make sure to subscribe, as well as hitting the like button and ringing that bell icon to get notified of every time we upload a new video. If you would like to support the channel directly, if you would like to help keep the camera on and those lights rolling, please make sure to stop by Airsoft GI for all your airsoft needs. But this is Boaz, and we'll see you next time, Mayo Gang. That never gets old.